It's my show, ding dong.
Oh no! Wrong one. Hello! Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm left hand stew. Oh, this is actually. Wait, which webcam are we on? Did it switch on me? There we go. Oh wow, that's not good. Whoops. I'm all big. Hello everybody. I guess that's just... We'll figure this out. It's been a while. It's been a while, folks. Hey, Stein. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanksgiving should be a work day on the Hill. We'd get some kind of crazy turkey-based content from the pro hunting groups, the animal rights activists. I mean, it would be funny to make them all come back, like, right away on today. And I did make my jokes in the summer when I looked at the schedule, and I saw they're on for, like, 3 days. Or no, they're on for like 3 weeks, and then it's Thanksgiving weekend, and they're off for like this week. But you know what? Now that we're here, I'm like, I'm not mad that it's gonna be a little bit of peace, quiet for a bit while they're gone. Not mad at it. Not that upset. Trying to fix my green screen. 1 second. There we go. Not really, but whatever. I'm gonna have to reorient this. This is not working so well. See, now we're going too far that way. Whatever, that'll have to do. Alrighty. How big do I want to make myself? Not too big. There we go. That's about right. Alright, yes. As St. Jean said, hope everyone had a long, happy Thanksgiving long weekend to Fargo. Hope you had a good, regular American weekend. Hey, Vexing, how's it going? Happy Tuesday.
Extremely successful. He's extremely ambitious. He has a
okay, never mind. All right, yeah, sorry. There's a I was trying to McLean's. It seems like apparently has a TikTok. Steve Marr wrote a very, very good article, quite a long one, lengthy one on Mr. Carney. But just really good, really very good profile on him. And also, I think we're about to get to a point where they're about to call the Newfoundland provincial elections just in a moment, I believe. Let's check in on that. Where are they? I think it says 22. Oh, There it is. Liberals win a majority. I think it.
Well, Ashley, thank you
That's
so much
what that
for sharing
means?
your thoughts with
That's pretty close. Liberals, they're just above that
There it is.
45.4% benchmark needed to form a majority government. The PC's sitting just below that. And yeah, I mentioned that the Liberals cannot afford to lose any seats tonight and keep their majority. So let's look at the seat change. They are holding steady, but the PC's up a seat there. Independent.
So I don't know how many of those are like
Of course, that being Perry
confirmed or like
Labrador.
leaning.
Who was elected
elected.
as an independent, but then was welcomed back into the Liberal fold.
Yeah, that's one of the little anomalies of our
it
system.
is.
That Perry Trump was elected as an independent last time, rejoined the Liberal caucus. Eddie Joyce and Paul Lane
They're safe.
are safely
They're
leading right
safe.
now. Those are the two independents that really matter.
Convenient
This is
having
why
Cochrane out
the
east
Liberals are 2-1.
already.
That's what you need. That's the magic number for a majority. But let's just show
Don't
you
need
how
him in
close
Ottawa.
So many races are, and this is
No
why
offense,
it
but
is
there's
way too
nothing
early
going
to make
on.
a call here. We have 13 districts right now where the margin is less than 100 votes. I mean, look at Fogo Island, Cape Friels. There is just a 3-vote lead right now.
Damn.
Fairland is just 14. So you can see how
Exactly.
switches in this, and knowing
is definitely
full
a
well
not
that
a
there
week.
are 25,000
God,
votes
wow,
banked
that's-
in the
I
advanced
should-
polls that are going to come late in the
Should
night.
put
You're
that
going to
in
get a
my,
big
my
data dump
title.
that can switch all of these things. The phenomenon we saw in the federal election, where 1,000 vote federal conservative leads became 1,800 vote federal liberal leads when the advanced polls came in later in the night, which is why it took so long to call that. So hopefully, Carolyn, we don't have that kind of delay. I have a flight back to Ottawa at 8 o'clock that I would very much like to make. But you look at this right now, with the
Wait.
Liberals at 22, the PCs
Oh.
at 14. The close races means there's still a wide range of outcomes.
Oh, I
The
assume he
PC
means
minority
8
is
a.m.
still
in the
very
morning?
Possible at this point. The
Because it's
probability
like, isn't
right
it
now, I would
already
suggest, leans towards a liberal government of some
a
form. But
7:45?
there's still quite a lot of data, quite a lot of votes, and
Newfoundland
quite
right
a lot
now?
of potential change still in play as more counting comes in.
And if things go along, David, you could always host Power
Also,
Politics.
come on, Dan Raj, drop
Yes,
the O'Leary
Keep
pod.
going.
But yes, I could definitely.
I need it. I
Okay,
need.
we
I
do
need.
have
I
a
want to hear it so
projection
bad.
for you, right
O'Leary
now.
is
We're
just
going
such
to go
a
to Humber, Bay of Violence. There we go.
There he is.
Eddie
interesting
Joyce,
person, I
independent
think is the
shock
word
of the
I'll
night.
use
Not the
on
shock
air.
of the night. David mentioned earlier that, yeah, this was expected. Eddie Joyce, a real constituency guy. This is his third time winning as an independent in this province. So, yeah, yep.
Yeah, not even his opponents. I
Yeah.
think one of them said, this guy, Ethan, Wheeler Park, he said, Eddie loves him.
Loves them. Both of them. Both of them said that they love Eddie Joyce.
Do most provinces follow the
Sure.
Underhill swing theory, or is that just Ontario? Appetite for different federal and provincial. Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I'd have to look. But I think also that theory is probably a little bit more perceived wisdom than actual wisdom.
Again, but also might have been a different response there because, you know, Eddie Joyce was elected in 1989. 36 years ago, he won that seat in the election where the Liberals flipped the government from the Progressive Conservatives under Clyde Wells. Clyde Wells did not win his seat, so the newly elected Eddie Joyce gave up his seat for Clyde Wells so he could get a seat in the House of Assembly to sit as premier.
Oh wait, please let the Ford I beat up a shoplifter story. Please let someone have that clip up by now.
Later stepped aside when Clyde Wells left so Brian Tobin could take his seat.
Oh,
So he's
here
been
we
getting
go.
elected.
Oh, thank you, Jeebus.
You know, can I tell a little?
Being hosted by friend of the show, Ben Mulrooney. Also, I want to clear this up. Ben, if you're watching, that Stuart Green account isn't me. I can't tell if he's just trying to like make fun of that guy by misspelling his name intentionally. But I've seen it enough, and I'm like, does he think that's my alt? If so, Ben, if you're watching, it's not me. It's not me. Look in my eyes. It's not me. Anything that I wouldn't be like comfortable or too scared to post on my actual account, not worth posting at all. I don't have an alt. And maybe he doesn't, but it is very funny to think that he assumes that guy is me. Because he's done it so many times that I'm just like, it started as a joke. And the more it keeps happening, I'm like, does he think that that's me? And but like, it'd be a stretch, because I think we've only had that one interaction. I'm pretty sure. I don't, like, but it is a very funny bit.
Story,
Please.
story.
Please.
So, a couple months
This
ago,
is so good.
I pulled
A couple of months
in,
ago,
I escaped from my detail at 8 o'clock in the morning.
he
before
pulled a
they come,
Princess
and
Jasmine.
it ticks them off. So I hop in my pickup and I want to go to Home Depot. It was on a Saturday. And I pull up and I wanted to get some plants. Actually, it was the weekend before the Prime Minister came. I wanted to get plants for the cottage, so I loaded up. And I pulled up right by the nursery. I think
As if there wasn't enough, shall we say, undertones to that late night hangout when Carney, like, I think, spent the night at Ford's cottage. Ford has now just said he wanted to go get flowers to pretty up the place. I mean, it's beautiful. I think their friendship is it's very beautiful.
majority have been to Home Depot. So I pull right up, I load up all the plants, and I'm ready to pull out. And here's this guy with a backpack and, a bag. And he's walking out, and the store manager's yelling at him, come back, come back. And the security guard's there. And I said, well, go get him. We aren't allowed to go get him. And so he went around the side of where all the plants and outside the parking lot. So I was in my car. I said, screw this. I'm going after this guy.
Were you in the store or were you in your car?
So by this time, my heart's beating. I'm ticked off. So I go racing behind. No one can see. And I pull up behind him and jump out of the car. I said, buddy, what's in your bag? Nothing's in my bag. I said, buddy, I'm going to kick your ass all over the parking lot. Show me what's in your bag. And I did. I couldn't help myself. And so I said, buddy, come over here. And nothing's in my bag. And so we start. Now, by this time, the store manager comes, and he's on fire. He's cursing and swearing. I guess I threw in a couple colorful language, too. And so he's emptying out his bag. And all of a sudden, so he's saying, nothing's here. I said, how about your other bag? It's because he dropped it and heard a cling. And so he went in there and he pulled out one of those saw blades that you open up.
Yeah.
And you use it as a saw blade. And the store manager said, that's what he stole.
Assuming this story is true, how just insane must that be if you're the thief? You've just done, like, just shoplifted, a saw blade, and just out of nowhere, like Batman, the premier jumps out of his car and starts, like, threatening to kick your ass in a back alley. And on top of that, he's telling this story at the Empire Club, which is, if you do, these are like just a bunch of really sort of well-connected, like, business executives and stuff who just, like, have a luncheon and listen to politicians or whatever. This is, oh my God, I love Ford. It's the gift that keeps on giving. What are we doing in Newfoundland?
Here. So you can see why nobody's unclenching at any of the party headquarters, right? Because the Liberals are right where they want to be. The question, Carol, is whether they can stay where they want to be. And it's interesting to see, you mentioned Fairyland earlier. how that has been, or Ariana was talking about, that's been PC since 1971, but it's changing, right? And we've seen this in seats. I'll use the example of Milton, the riding in Ontario federally, where Lisa Raitt was a Conservative cabinet minister. And by the way, Steve Crocker reminds me, today is 17 years to the day from Stephen Harper's minority government in 2008. It was a Tuesday, October 14th of 2008. He got no help from Danny Williams in the PCs that year, but it is one of those seats that as it becomes more urban, the voting tendencies change. And we're seeing that in these close races, right? That as more of the metro area goes into what would be the Southern Shore here, it's tightening up in the Liberals' favor.
Okay, now we have some more results. Just want to, we have some breaking news on one of our leaders. Going to take you now to the West Coast. Yes, Stephenville, Port-au-Port. Tony Wakeham, the PC leader, projected to win his seat tonight. All right, there you go. So the PCs are still trailing behind
you got
the
50
Liberals
votes,
in terms
Susan.
of the seat count there. Liberals just bumped up to
It's not
22,
nothing. It's just
and,
50
we were talking
people is a
about
lot of
Fairyland.
people.
Yeah, David was
That'll
talking about
fill
Fairyland
a
earlier.
small
As
bar.
you said, Tory since 1971, I believe.
I was quoting you there, so I hope you're right.
Well, I don't know. I just made it up. This is actually Cheryl O'Brien's second attempt. In 2021, she went up against...
And then in other news, the Trump Gaza peace plan, or at least the first stage of it, I guess it's kind of on, I don't know if I would say shaky ground. It was already on, it was always on shaky ground, let's be honest. I think the latest is all of the living hostages are back, so that's good. I think Palestinian hostages and prisoners are being returned. I don't know if they're all been returned yet or how many stages that's happening in. There's already been accusations from both sides of breaking the ceasefire. Israel accusing Hamas of breaking ceasefire but not returning all of the deceased hostages. It's just the living hostages that were returned. Though I believe in the actual agreement there was like working out the phased return of the deceased hostages, because I don't think Hamas even knew where some of them were. And then Hamas accusing, or the Palestinians accusing, because more than just Hamas, Palestinians accusing Israel of breaking the ceasefire by shooting about 6 Palestinians today. I think Israel said it was because they were approaching the line that Israel has like withdrawn to within Gaza. And then this weekend there was the big signing of the peace agreement, and Carney went. Not super sure why. I guess it was mostly just like, I think Trump just sent out invites on like Saturday night and was like, hey, can you make it to my party? And they all just dropped everything and went. I don't know if Carney got much out of it other than
Thank you very much.
this.
So if we could ask the media to leave, and we're going to have a little conversation with all of these great leaders, which will take 5 minutes, and we'll just talk for a couple of minutes. But if we could ask the media to leave, would be great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. See you going back?
I'll go back. I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Oh, did I say? Great stuff.
There's fucking Keir trying to weasel in there.
It's good. I started as a
At least I didn't say
Great stuff.
You're not part of this discussion, Keir. Oh, at least he got the handshake there. I thought Trump snubbed him there and went to who was that guy? He was bad with leaders.
That was great.
Oh God, I know who that is. Oh God, who is that? Which one is that? That's gonna bug me. Whatever. And then on top of that, because I guess it was so last minute, Carney couldn't charter any of the normal planes that they would usually take, and didn't take any of the press gallery with them. So this is the statement from the Parliamentary Press Gallery on Carney's trip. The Parliamentary Press Gallery was not informed in advance of the Prime Minister's trip to Egypt to participate in the Middle East peace ceremony on October 12 through 13. The gallery is disappointed and dismayed at the exclusion of Canadian media from the event and expresses in no uncertain terms that this must never happen again. It is unprecedented that Canadian media be entirely excluded from a Canadian Prime Minister's foreign trip. Our members bring a trustworthy and reliable news coverage free from any political interference to Canadians every day and play a critical role in holding governments accountable to the people that elect them. Every government in a healthy democracy must show a commitment to freedom of the press. In Canada, that includes respect for the vital role the gallery and its members play. Any event that erodes access, transparency, and accountability is a step in the wrong direction. Mir Rapson, President, Parliamentary Press Gallery. And the other weird part about it was, like, because they didn't have even, like, a pool cam or a pool reporter, the PMO was, like, basically putting out pool reports. I don't want to open up my email on stream, but I'll do it on my phone. Where was one from, like, this week? Or there'd be, like, they put out, because he left on Sunday, and then on still on Sunday, sending out his, like, itinerary for the next day, and it says 11:30 a.m. Prime Minister will arrive in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt, closed to media. It's like, duh, we're not there. You didn't bring us. And then Prime Minister will attend the signing of Middle East peace plan. Notes for media. Host, broadcaster, and official photographer. Further information on itinerary details to come. So that wasn't what I meant, but that was just one of the funny ones. Yeah, so this is one from the PMO. So it's like, since arriving at the summit, in addition to conversations at the summit, he has had brief pull-asides with leaders from in a particular order, and then a bunch of France, Germany, Jordan, Italy, KSA, Bahrain, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, Palestinian Authority, Azerbaijan, United Kingdom, United Nations, Secretary General, Qatar, Oman, Kuwait. Discussion is about next steps for... So, like, these are... We'll update as more pull-asides take place. We are now waiting for their family. So there's, like... This isn't exactly what it would be. And then, like, links to, like, their statements and tweets. That's not exactly what a pool report would be. But it's, like, in the absence of one, it's like them doing a pool report. Because that's, like, if you don't know what a pool report, it's like, if the space is limited, you basically have, like, usually from Canadian press and Presse Canadienne, which is the French one, they just basically send out some shorter blurbs, like usually maybe 100 to 200 words max, of, like, a meeting Carney had, some brief points about what they talked about, maybe what he was wearing, that sort of thing. But it's just but that's, like, you're getting that from another reporter, so at least they're in the room, they can tell you what's going on, then you can sort of report that out. But when you're getting it straight from the PMO, it sort of blurs that kind of line between news reporting and regurgitating press releases. And it's like, I have, I don't know if I would say sympathy, but I don't reject out of hand the sort of thing that it was like Trump was like, it sent the invitation Saturday night, they had to leave Sunday morning, it's Thanksgiving weekend, planes aren't ready, the crew's not ready. Kind of weird that he chartered his own plane, but I guess it's like, you got a rich banker as a PM. He could do that probably out of his own pocket if he wanted to. So apparently that was cleared with ethics. So I guess if that's cleared, then that's whatever. But it's like, if you are chartering the plane, obviously you could have chartered a plane big enough for at least 1 or 2 reporters. Because I think that the issue here is, I don't know if it's like they didn't, or they're actively trying to not bring us. Maybe they were. We'll see. This is one instance of it. If there's a second instance of it, it starts to become a pattern. But if it's sort of like, well, the press is an afterthought in this. Which you can go, oh, Stuart, you're not, like, the press are not the most, like, sure, maybe, but I do think it is important. I don't know if it should. Maybe we shouldn't be the last thing on the list. You shouldn't be home aloneing the National Press Gallery for an event this important. I'd say bring one of us, but you gotta bring, one of us if they can speak French and English. That's at least. And a camera. You can put them in the back of in that awful seat at the back of the plane that's next to the toilet. It doesn't matter. But just bring somebody. All right. And to more important news. I think Katy Perry is absolutely dating Justin Trudeau. Apparently she made comments about it yesterday at a concert in London. So, I don't know if you've seen it. There was pictures from yesterday. Obviously, you got to give everybody the important context of this incredibly important. I think all the photos are just of her with Orlando Bloom. Or wait, is this not even about? This is just about. Get to the pictures.
People are continuing to fuel dating rumors. In photos published by the Daily Mail, the singer and former Canadian Prime Minister are seen packing on the PDA during a recent outing on Katy's yacht off the coast of Santa Barbara. This latest outing...
Just do the photos. Who is this voice? Because there was also, I think, a Daily Mail photographer who got the initial shots of them in Montreal.
Months after they enjoying an intimate dinner in Montreal back in July as the Grammy-nominated artist was touring through Canada. With the dating days later, too, comes after both of them ships.
Sophie and Orlando Bloom should start dating. There's a non-zero chance this happens. Let's do it. Chaos timeline. Bring it. So apparently she made a comment about it. So during the concert, the 40-year-old who was previously engaged to Orlando Bloom received surprise marriage proposal from an audience member, according to the Daily Mail. In response, 24 hours after her and Justin's pictures together made the news, Katy said, "I wish you'd asked me 48 hours ago." She also hinted that her normal type has perhaps shifted. "London, England, you're like this on a Monday night after a whole day at work and a whole day at school," she noted. "No wonder I fall for Englishmen all the time." Then she quipped, "But not anymore." And then apparently Sophie Gregoire Trudeau made some weird video yesterday too. I don't know if I want to watch it because apparently it's like a minute long. "Nothing we love was ever meant to be kept," said Sophie Gregoire Trudeau in an over minute-long video posted on Instagram. "The people, the places, even the moments that once felt infinite." And then I did watch everyone get mad about it, and I'm like, why do you even... It is sort of the, like, there was that thing with, like, it was Carney said it to Polyev at the debate, and he's like, "Trudeau's not coming back. It's me." And it's like, I get having a laugh at it because it's silly and goofy, and it's a very goofy thing that's happening. But like, working yourself into a lather over it. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. He's gone. Just wait till he starts making $100,000 to do a 20-minute speech. At least that'll be like, you'll be using your energy in a worthwhile manner. Also, I can't believe I forgot to tweet out. Actually, should we watch the video? Is it going to be weird?
Do you find that sometimes we forget that nothing we love was ever meant to be kept? The people, the places, even the moments that once felt, I don't know, infinite, right? Time asks us to not cling to them. And yet we do. I do. Because to hold on feels safer. Time asks us to not cling. But love was never about possession. It was always about presence, the present moment. And when we release what we cannot keep, we make space for the truth of connection, intimacy, the memory, for the lesson, for the way a single smile can echo across a lifetime.
I don't know
Grief
what that, I don't know what
also
that
lives there.
means.
I've lost my dad
Hollywood.
in the past year, and I feel that with grief also comes grace. So maybe love's deepest teaching is this: to stand open-hearted in the face of impermanence, to honor what has been, and to trust that letting go is also a form of keeping inside us, where no loss can erase it in a way. So take a breath with me. Place one hand on your chest just for a couple of seconds and remember someone or something you've had to release and feel how it still lives inside of you. That is love's endurance. That is what carries us.
See, this is my most boomer take, where it's like, some things are meant to be inside thoughts. We're not supposed to share everything with everybody. It's not supposed to be broadcast. Like, maybe not just inside thoughts, but like inner circle thoughts. This is a thing you share with a trusted friend, or like a sister or a mom, or any number of close personal associates. There's just, maybe it's also just like my sort of my Scottish mom, and that sort of cultural outlook being dominant in my upbringing, where it's just like excessive displays of and I don't want to say it's I'll say it's performative, because it is a performance. You're doing it for an audience. That's the definition of it. Just performative emotional displays. Just, we're not comfortable with them. I've never been comfortable with it. Makes me, this is why I'm like this. I have to start making jokes and denigrating it, no matter how genuine it may, the actual expression of the emotion may be. I'm just gonna be like, this is an inside thought. Like, well, because I don't want to say that. I don't want to be like public displays of emotions. Because sometimes you just get like, you're mad, you just can't take it anymore. And you have like, here's the thing. If somebody, I've never been, like, the people who get like upset at babies, like on an airplane or a bus or public space, that are having, like, crying and having a temper tantrum, that doesn't really upset me. And I have a pretty big tolerance for adults having temper tantrums, because sometimes life just calls for a temper tantrum. You just have it. Stuff builds and builds and builds, and maybe you don't physically do it, but metaphorically, all you can do is fall on the floor and kick your feet and scream. And I will never really be like it. There is, again, with all things, there's a line with that as well, where it can verge into either performative or just like, good God, man, have some pride. You get like that. I guess it's the way of things with most men. You get a temper tantrum where, like, you can punch one hole in the drywall, but then you have to go and fix the drywall. You can't leave the hole in the drywall. You get to have a temper tantrum just for the length of time it takes you to punch a hole in the drywall. No. Though if you pull your punches, you can get 3 punches on the drywall. The temper tantrum lasts long enough for you to put a hole in the drywall. Also, there's the whole thing where it's like, and I can empathize with this, where it's like when women see that, they're like, well, he's just doing that because he wants to show you how hard he can hit you. And it's like, no, literally, like, we're doing that because if we don't punch like an inanimate object, we will punch ourselves in the face. It's just we have to get that. It's the testosterone is a demon. I think maybe once. But it's like, I'm also one of the, where like, I think it's my anxiety where it's like, I'll go to punch a wall and then my brain goes, I don't want to have to fix a hole in a drywall. So that usually stops me. I'm more of a smack myself in the head because it's usually my own decisions that have brought me to this moment. Yeah, that's also, there's, I think also I grew up watching Jersey Shore, which if you never watched Jersey Shore, so that was a great show, and it's like they spent most of that show in that dingy, like, entirely made of drywall Jersey beachfront apartment. The Snooki of the North. I like to think of myself more of a Finny. But I always remember, like, because I watched it live. Some generations get the moon landing. Some generations get political assassinations. My generation got the situation trying to put his head through a wall, as he had probably done numerous times before back in Jersey, where the walls are made of paper mache. Unfortunately, in that season, they were in Italy, where the buildings are made of stone that have withstood the test of time for centuries. And he attempted to put his head through that wall. And while that man may be the definition of hard-headed, it is not stronger than Italian masonry. Though there is a conspiracy theory that he did that specifically so he could get more of the pain medication he was addicted to, but couldn't get as easily in Europe. So that's the Jersey Shore lore dump, if you've never seen that. God, that was a great show. Just the worst, just a terrible impression on my whole generation of young men. But here's the thing. I don't think any singular show has ever gotten more young men to regularly do their laundry, ever. Just gym tan laundry was like we can quibble about the health effects of like indoor tanning, but that actually got some dudes into like incredible, like, to literally, that was a Jordan Peterson clean up your room before Jordan Peterson. I genuinely saw some dudes literally clean up their act, start doing laundry, and get into better shape just because of Jersey Shore. And that's not hyperbole. Where it's like, I hear dudes in the laundry room going gym tan laundry, and it's like anything that gets them to do their laundry, I think we should be grateful for. Before I
but
read
just
this,
one
check
of
back in
39
on
polls
Newfoundland.
From a majority or
Oh,
minority
see?
government.
Yeah, so it
Wow,
wasn't
how tight that is.
confirmed.
To form a
These are
majority
projected
government, you need
still.
the 45.4
Ooh,
percent
baby.
mark. You need to hit that. Liberals just below that, and so are the PCs.
So maybe that, what was that term?
Majority finish line, if you will. Both of
Underhill
them
swing
just
theory.
Right behind it there. So let's look at the seat change, where the seats
I've never
are
actually heard the
right
name of
now.
that
The Liberals
theory. I don't know how to
down
name.
3
I thought it was
seats.
just sort of like a
PCs
thing
up
people
4
noticed.
seats there. So yeah, PCs now in the lead on the bar there on the bottom of your screen. So yeah, my gosh, it's a tight one. And there are some key races here tonight that could make all the difference. And Ariane, David, you're going to have a look at those.
Yeah, Carolyn, we talked about how
Robert
we would get here,
Benzie
what the path
coined
to
it?
victory may look like.
Why does he call it Underhill?
Map.
Yeah, well, let's start with Labrador. This was, the Liberals held 2 seats, the NDP won, the PCs won when the House of Assembly dissolved. The 2 seats here, Lake Melville and Labrador West, those were the targets for a hold and a gain for the Liberals, both for gains for the PCs. And Ariana, look at this. That's a lot of blue in the big land.
Blue. Yeah, which they didn't start with a lot of blue. Let's take a look at Labrador West now. Of course, this was an NDP seat. It was held by Jordan Brown. He decided to go to municipal politics. And look, Joseph Power, former fire chief, with the lead with over 100 votes there over Todd Seward with 12 of 27 polls reporting there, David.
Okay, let's take a look now at Western Newfoundland, the island of Newfoundland. This has been the Liberals' traditional power base in rural Newfoundland and Labrador. This is where former Premier Andrew Furey had his seat. Well, here it is.
Getting
That
interesting.
doesn't look red. That is a blue seat, and up at St. Barb.
I think literally like 10 minutes ago, they were at, it was like 22-15. Or no, maybe 21.
Cabinet minister here in the
No, I'm pretty sure I remember
legislature.
seeing the Liberals
That
say
is still red, but St. George's
22, so maybe they've pulled one that is too close to call now.
The Liberals needed to hold. The PCs needed to run up the score. Carol Anstey won this big for the federal Conservatives election. They're off to a pretty good night so far.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that mirroring of the federal election. And this is the seat that you were just talking about. This was a seat held by 2 former premiers, Andrew Furey, Dwight Ball. And look at that, the lead of 600 votes, more than 600 votes over Helen.
I think that's probably more accurate. Is like we get too caught up in the colors. But I don't think they change. I don't think most people do that. I don't think most people actually think that way. That they're like, well, or it's that it has that much of an impact. Like, what you're probably, well, I think more what people are noticing is that there'll be an election. Enough time will pass for the people in that area to get pissed at the people in charge, and then they vote for for someone else. But I think most of it, like if the elections happen within close enough timeline, or even without them, I think probably ideologically tend to mirror it. But then also in provincial elections, and the further down you go, the more sort of personal over party a lot of voting becomes. Oh God, who is it? I was just talking to. That this is my most Ottawa bubble. But there's a is it Buckley Belanger? Yeah. Where was he before? Yeah. So he was a Saskatchewan. I want to maybe look this up. So I think if I have this right, yeah. So he was first elected in the Saskatchewan legislature in 1995, and he was, I think, previously part of the Liberal Party. And I forget the specifics. It'll take me too long to look it up. But there was sort of the NDP were trying to like poach him to cross the floor, and I think that would give them either a majority or enough to form government. And for him to sweeten the pot, they're like, if you cross the floor, we'll give you a cabinet position. And normally, And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. But rather than what most politicians do, which is just you cross the floor, which is your right to do. You don't have to remain in any party just because you were elected to that party. But instead of doing that, he like went back and like asked for them to call a by-election so that he could rerun for the NDP, and basically won, I think maybe with more votes than he did in the previous one, because they're like, well, we voted for Buckley. We like Buckley. We don't care what goddamn jersey he's wearing. Like maybe if he had switched to something completely ideologically different. Even then, even if it had been liberal or conservatives, they'd be like, well, we trust Buckley. Like that's, you find that more like it's, I think, much harder to parachute in politicians. So I think like I think that's one of those like that's a super long story to now make short. I don't think it actually does. I don't think that Underhill theory is as impactful as it actually is.
Read.
It's a good shorthand, but I don't know
Liberals
how
haven't lost a seat there. The PCs are holding theirs. The
accurate
is
of
holding
a
theirs,
or
because the Liberals are now back in the
impactful
lead
of
in
a
same
phenomenon
as
it
PDP.
actually
But if you look
is.
at where the PCs are, they kind of needed to draw an inside straight in the rural seats on the island and in Labrador. And so far, the river, the turn, and the flop are coming up their way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's why it's so difficult to predict it, I think, right? And especially in some of the ridings where Labrador, for example, it's still very neck and neck. It's disappointing that Shazia isn't doing better in that. She's a phenomenal candidate. First ever visible minority ever elected to municipal council in Wabush in 2021. So that's unfortunate, but it really is telling that there's so many factors at play there besides not just who the candidates are, but what the issues are that are actually drawing people one way or the other.
Yeah, Dave Brazel, the PCs have now moved back into 19. There's been this snip, snap between the PCs and the Liberals, and it's mostly been the Lewisport Twillingate seat that is ping-ponging back and forth, which is interesting to see that one is remaining this close, kind of this late in the count, because my sense from speaking to all the campaigns is they felt the Liberals might be okay there, and this one's looking like a bit of a dogfight.
Yeah, no, we knew we had a good candidate. We knew we had a strategy, and there's certain Pacific communities out there that are more apt to want to go PC, that weren't pleased with the Liberal policies. We targeted those. Our candidate made sure the message got out there. So, I mean, we weren't sure we were going to win it, but we knew we'd be in the game. And as I mentioned earlier, and we've been saying that since the whole campaign started, we've been in a number of these seats that people didn't think we would be. And we knew we'd be challenged by the Liberals and a couple of other ones, and we're still holding our own there. So the strategy that was put in play for the last 3 months is now starting to come to fruition, and hopefully it maintains this and we get to where we want it to go. I mean, ideally a majority, but I'll live with a high minority for sure.
So, Steve Crocker,
I love
your
the
old seat,
Newfoundland
Trinity
accent.
Beta Verde, you're still leading in it, though there's some buzz that the PCs are pretty encouraged with what they're seeing in different things. I mean, what are your expectations on what may happen in your old seat? Do you think it could end up changing the picture even more?
Well, it's certainly a bellwether. That seat has always voted with government. That one, I think Gander, there are a few in this province that have certainly always been bellwethers. So it'll be interesting to see as the night goes on. I haven't gotten any inside information from the district, but Riley ran a very strong campaign. And he campaigned for many, many months, and he campaigned hard. And that pays off when you have a solid ground game. And so kudos to that. No matter what the outcome is tonight, it's been a very strong campaign. But, there's still a long ways to go. Optimistic, as we talked about a lot tonight, with the votes to come, the advanced votes to come. But, this is starting to solidify.
Yeah.
These numbers are the spreads are starting to get a little bit greater as we go further, and that just is proving the trend. And right now you see it's just flipping back and forth. So I think, the board at the end of the night may very well look something like this.
Okay. You know, Carolyn, when we started that conversation with Steve Crocker, it was tied. It changed about 7 times. Now it's back to tie, and then it changed again. I didn't even get to finish my point before I already flipped.
Well, yeah, the Liberals, they're ahead. And Ariana, let's just get to some results, because I'm sure a lot of
This
people are
video
wondering
up?
where
Where are
things
these clips coming from?
At some of
Or
these
is this
seats
all
where
from?
the Liberals are losing, where they had held these seats in the past. Okay, so let's look at St. John's East Kitty Bitty. John Abbott had this seat, wasn't going to run again, stepped aside. Sheila O'Leary right now with the lead. That lead has been growing now over the night, with 26 of 45 polls reporting over John Whalen with the Liberals. In St. George's, Humber,
Yes,
of course,
it's
also
up.
an open seat. Scott Reed held this seat for a decade. Hal Cormier now.
Also, Polyev was crying on almost in tears on the Northern Perspective.
Polls reporting there in St. George's, Humber. Andrea Barber, the Gap.
Yep.
You know, it's growing there. A lead of 439 votes over Crystalline Howell, minister in John Hogan's government. 42 of 49 polls reporting there, Carolyn. And Mike Guzny, again, that lead is growing. This is a former premier seat, 2 former premier seats, Andrew Fury and Dwight Ball. And now it looks like Mike Guzny has this lead now, and it is growing. And let's take a look at the vote share. And we're going to look right now at Placentia West Bellevue. This is a seat that was held by Tory.
I guess they're
Dwyer,
are they
and look at
dropping
that,
it
the
tomorrow?
Liberals, 47.9%. The PCs 45.3%.
Subscribe to get notified when the full. God damn it!
57 polls reporting there, Carolyn.
Wow. Okay. Let's go to Labrador now and check in with Regan Burton. She is at the headquarters of PC candidate Keith Russell, who's hoping to win back his Lake Melville seat that he held years and years ago. So, Regan, my goodness,
I got excited.
We're seeing this super
But
tight
nothing.
race unfold tonight. What are you hearing from the people in Keith Russell's camp?
Well, the mood has certainly picked up.
Hey, Zero Mus, how's it going?
Cautiously optimistic, and now they're feeling pretty good. They've taken the balloons from around the room and put them up by the podium, hopeful and feeling excited about the results that are coming in.
God, they
not
just
here,
Placentia.
but across the
It's
province. And one of
there's
the
a
reporters for
Placntia. I knew it wasn't spelt the same
former
way,
Grand Chief
but
of the
yes,
Nation, Etienne Rich. Good
Placentia.
evening.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you feeling tonight?
But
with us all
also,
coming
this
in?
is the same.
Pretty much pretty good feeling about the.
This is also the same province that has a town called, or it's a local service district called Dildo.
And
Yeah, no, it's I give it to you. You got it.
It's moving positively where we want as Labradorians and as Innu for Innu Nation as well, and I think that's very important.
You know, Etienne, a big topic of conversation during this whole election.
I wonder if
certainly
it
here
explains.
in Lake Melville, Gull Island, the MOU. So why
There's
do
a
you think
Placentia
that
in
Keith
Orange
Russell-
County as well?
To be the person who is going to represent us in making a deal with Quebec for that project.
Well, I'm going to explain to you like the way I explain to my people. Because as a former leader and dealing with the Liberal Party, because it wasn't really that smooth, and I have a lot of obstacles and I have to fight with them all the time as a leader. And I think that's one of the important things for Labrador, and I think that we need to have some kind of a strong voice and who can represent the Labradorians and both Indigenous people here in Labrador, Nunavut and Innu Nation, and I think that's a very important thing.
All right, thank you so much. That was Etienne Rich, former Grand Chief of the Innu Nation. We'll certainly be standing by to see what happens next as the rest of the polls come in. We'll send it back to you.
Thank you so much, Regan Burton, live in Happy Valley Goose Bay tonight. And we're going to have a look at how
Happy
some of
Valley
the PC
Goose
candidates
Bay.
are doing. Ariane, you have some results of some PCs who have been projected to be elected.
Yeah, let's take a look at that list, starting in Harbor, Maine. Helen Conway Ottenheimer.
When you look at a map of
large lead there.
Newfoundland,
She's
and I'm
elected
sorry,
in Harbor,
Newfoundland,
Maine,
I
so
love
she'll
you,
be returning
but when you look
to
at a
the
map, it does
legislature.
kind of feel like.
Parrott again, no surprise. He
This is
will
a
be
weird
returning to the
analogy, but like
legislature, ran against Tony.
If you had a Minecraft server and everyone had it was just an open Minecraft server and everyone just named their own so it's like Happy Valley is where all the there's just
that Carolyn
the cozy gamers are playing and have their little village.
And look at this.
And then there's Dildo. Where a dude's just building a giant phallus as tall as he can.
So take a look at that.
Okay, there we go. Some happy progressive conservatives.
And I mean, those two
so
examples
far
extend across the entire island, obviously.
Another MHA who is celebrating tonight, Eddie Joyce.
What I mean to say is Newfoundland contains multitudes,
in
despite
Humber
its
Bay of Islands. So congratulations, Mr. Joyce, on your win this evening.
Small-ish size.
It's been a hard-fought battle, but with a great team and lots of prep work over the last 4 years. It worked.
It's humble size,
and
shall we
people
say.
Rewarded the team because of the great work that we did the last 4 years and the last 28 days.
And of course, we have to start because of we have to start another discourse on Canadian Twitter of we're the Nazi socialists. It's like, can people just read a goddamn book? Is this the statement from the press gallery? God damn it. Yeah, we read that one. Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, this is your.
there's some bits in that about
we
the
do what we can. Plus also speaking up on the concerns of the people of the Humber.
I mean, they probably wouldn't have sent me to Egypt, most likely, and I'm not upset that I got to enjoy a full 3-day weekend. Though I do hear Sheikh El Sharm is it's literally a resort city. So I mean, it would have been a nice little, would have been warm, nice little vacation. But no, I'm not upset. Though on principle, I've said they should have taken you're charting the plane anyways. Chart a plane with 1 or 2 extra seats, a couple extra seats so you can bring a camera and a French and an English pool reporter. I assume they would have stayed in the city or like somewhere nearby. Like it's like that, like as I said, it's a resort city, so there would have been hotels all over the place for them. The place is like famous for it, like it's like a spot where they've signed a bunch of different peace agreements before. So I'm assuming that it would have been. Yo, Freeland got Richard Kind. Yeah, the Arn Pryor version of Sheikh El Sharm. What's the Aylmer of Egypt? What's that like?
Bay of Islands, healthcare, the PET scanner, new doctors. That's the kind of things that I speak up on. That's what the constituents want me to speak up on because that's their major concerns, cost of living. So I'm just humbled that they gave me their support again tonight. And I'm just so blessed that I have such great people in Humber Bay of Islands that would support me.
And I want to know what you make of this close race so far tonight. It keeps flipping back and forth between the PCs and the Liberals. If a minority government is formed tonight in whatever way, the independents hold some sway and some power. What are you thinking about how close this race has been so far tonight?
I expect it to be close. I expect it to be a minority government. When you hear in different areas on the West Coast that the Liberals will not retain all their seats on the West Coast, I think is great because right now the issues that are being raised in the
use
area and
little
across
boy's
the
room.
province, we all must work together.
And then
as I
we'll
said
read
before,
this
as a member of the independent.
Political article. Politico article.
With myself and Paul.
About the Hitler-loving young Republicans who had their group chats leaked. Here's the thing.
I will support.
I used to think that I was, and it's probably still true, that the fact I'm not in very many of these groups, because every time one of these stories breaks, I'm like, is everyone else just in group chats and I'm just not? Do I just not get invited to any of these group chats?
Major concern that I heard on many occasions.
But the more these stories come out, I'm like, you know what? You can keep me out. You guys can't. Nobody can. One, can't trust any of you with OPSEC.
Because of the amount
and
money
two,
that was committed. So people expect me.
You guys are apparently just wilding
on behalf of Pauline
in
also, they expect us to do
these group DMs.
For the people of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Though I assume not all the
if it's
group
Liberal
DMs
or
are as
PC,
bad as this.
I just
or
want the best policies that's going to help out the people of Humber Bay
the
Province
Hegseth
and
one.
the people of province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Or what was the one? There was one. We had a Canadian
number of
version that
issues
was
there
very,
that
very
you will
low
be
stakes.
looking to see
recently.
what the parties do there with healthcare and all of that. But what about the Churchill Falls MOU? Where does your support lie with that proposed deal going forward?
Well, in actual fact, when the MOU was coming through, the Liberals had a majority.
Yes, I think it was something about the fisheries minister.
I went to the Liberal Party and I said, yeah, I'll support it. And I'm sure I can get Paul Lane.
My take on the group chats is either I'm too autistic to keep that many friends, or B, I'm the wrong kind of autistic, and that's why I'm not in those group chats.
Panel. The Liberals agreed to it, set up a oversight.
Yeah, you're at, or C, you're not autistic enough.
Going to be selected, and the terms of reference, and it worked. When they went and Mr.
They're operating at a higher level of autism, and they just know you can't keep up.
The MOU has concerns with the MOU. Nick can't get the full information, and he feels we can get a better deal. So the MOU itself,
they're just they're training at an X times amount of gravity that you just can't handle.
I have to wait to see what comes back as an agreement. The oversight committee said it's worked, and Mr. Wilson explained a lot of concerns that he had, flaws in it, and how we can improve it. So right now, I'm just waiting for the final agreement to come forward before I make any decision if I'm for or against it. But I can assure you that the concerns that were expressed has to be addressed before I would support it.
Okay, thank you so much, Eddie Joyce, and congratulations once again, Eddie Joyce returning to the House of Assembly to sit as an independent. And thank you so much, Eddie Joyce. And David, I have to say, we were during that interview, we watched things just flip there in terms of the seats. Liberals now trailing the PCs.
Yes, look, this is, the PCs are now on the hitch. They are one short of getting a majority government. We still can't make the call, though, because there's so many races still too close to call. And we're going to show you the closest ones in the province right now and show you why there's a path for both of the two parties to get to 21. Look at this. The PCs lead in 5 of the 7 closest seats here in Newfoundland and Labrador. But the biggest lead in any of them is 151 votes. It shrinks all the way down to 25 votes. Then you look at where if 5 of those flip, the Liberals have a majority government. You look at where the Liberals are in first place at Placentia West Bellevue and Buren Grand Bank. Well, that's 2 seats. They lead by a combined 207 votes, just 53 votes in Placentia West Bellevue and 154 in Buren Grand Bank. So at this stage of the night, the tally on the bottom of the screen, Carolyn, keeps bouncing back and forth like a ping pong ball, and you can see exactly why that is. There is still a viable, credible path to the magic number of 21 for the 2 leading parties right now, but this is trending to be a very, very successful night for the Progressive Conservatives. Tony Wakeham needed to go +7 in the seat count. He is currently +6. The results are not all yet final, but if you look at how the rural seats are going for the second election this year, rural voters in Newfoundland and Labrador are rejecting Liberals and voting for Conservatives. They did it for Pierre Poilievre and Jonathan Rowe and Cliff Small and Carol Anstey in a massive way on April 28th. And that pattern, Carolyn, is repeating itself in broad strokes here tonight as Tony Wakeham tries to unseat John Hogan.
Thank you, David. And seeing another repetition tonight, we're going to head out to Grand Falls, Windsor, where Troy Turner is standing by with PC Chris Tibbs, who is projected to be elected this evening. So, Troy, I'm sure that the PCs out there just hit the 21 mark, which is what the PCs need for a majority government, hence the cheering behind you. So what's the reaction there?
Happy here. They're happy with how the party is doing, and they're especially happy with newly re-elected Chris Tibbs. Chris, how do you feel right now?
I feel absolutely fantastic, but at the end of the day, I couldn't have done it without my supporters, without my team, my campaign manager. I just want to thank everybody else out there for your support. It means the world to me, and I look forward to serving you for a very long time.
Chris, this is your third successful election. How would you characterize the campaign this year?
This one was a bit of a different one, of course, because I did go up against a strong competitor, and I wish him the best luck moving forward. But like I say, if it wasn't for my team, I wouldn't be here today, and we're looking forward to forming government at some point tonight.
Yeah. What were the issues at the door, and what do you think gave you the advantage going into today's vote?
My voice. I mean, in my opinion, it's my voice. I've stood and I've stand tall for my constituents. I've spoken on their behalf over and over again. I have no fear of speaking on their behalf, and I'll continue to do so. We heard all the healthcare issues, cost of living issues, and at the end of the day, we want to make sure that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are taken care of and can live a reasonable life.
Of course, you mentioned your strong competitor a week ago. You had that the boiling point, we'll say, in that public forum. How did that set the stage for the final week of the campaign?
What it did is it just fueled me. That's all it did, is just fueled me to go harder, to go stronger. And at the end of the day, it's not about myself. It's not about my competitor. It's not about the PCs or the Liberals. It's about the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, and that's what we're here to serve.
Of course, we're still too tight to call if it's going to be a minority, a majority for Progressive Conservatives or Liberals. What's your hope from here?
Obviously, my hope is that Tony Wakem becomes the Premier. He deserves it. Nobody engages with people like I've seen Tony do. And we've got a lot of good people, a lot of strong people. And if the Progressive Conservatives can hang on and win government tonight, I can guarantee you we're going to look forward to a different Newfoundland and Labrador over the next 4 years.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Troy Turner in Grand Falls, Windsor, where Chris Tibbs
Our Republican's chamber. God
so
damn, that's
the
good.
PC score there, the table is being set down there.
Oh, shit.
PC's at
Oh,
20,
shit.
which is just below
Big
the
swing.
territory. So, Ariana, you have some more results for us. Let's dig in.
Yeah, let's take a look at where the PCs are leading here tonight in
That is
some
a
of these close
big ol'
races.
swing.
So let's go back to St. Barbara and Meadows. Andrea Barber there with a lead of over 500 votes over Cabinet Minister Krista Lynn Howell with 45 of 49 polls reporting. Mark Butt took the lead. Just then, this is one of these seats, Carolyn, where they are flipping back and forth. Speaker Derek Bennett, 25 votes lead right there
Very
in
fun.
Lewisburg, Twillingate, with just one poll left to come in that district. And let's take a look at Carbonear Trinity Bay de Verde. Again, another one that was flipping back and forth. Riley Balsam now, councillor in Heart's Content, has a lead of over 200 votes with 36 of 53 polls reporting there. And this was an open seat. Scott Reed left, decided not to run for re-election. Hal Cormier with a lead of just over 300 votes there with 38
Big
of 42
swings.
polls reporting. Carolyn.
A lot of blue up there. We're going to head out west to Stephenville, where Terry Roberts is standing by live at PC headquarters. Must be feeling.
I will admit, I'm
blue
not
right now, Terry.
the biggest expert
people here,
on Newfoundland
pretty
politics.
pumped. Every few seconds, it seems, there's applause.
Apologies.
And, so
I don't know a lot of
like
these
last time
people.
you were here, this is the mood sure has changed here right now, and I'm thrilled to have a guest here right now who can put all this in perspective for us. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Fred Stagg. Been a lawyer in this province for 55 years.
All right.
And you helped.
These two districts are.
Let's go through some of these Politico messages. Quote, Actually, I'm not going to read this first part. You guys can all read that. This person expressing their admiration for the 1940s World War II German leader, Adolf Hitler. I'm not letting you guys have that clip of me. I have this figured out. Stu on one monitor, Expedition 33 on another, Marvel Rifles on another. Hell yeah. My MacBook is on fire, and I don't know where some of these monitors came from. Expedition, which one's that? That one's is that the Claire Obscura one? that the one where they added like parries to turn-based strategy? Because I've heard good things about that one. And who's your champion on Marvel Rivals? All right. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. Anyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. When do we bring that side out? You're giving nationals too much, can't spell it, T-O-O, much credit and expecting the J word to be honest. I don't even feel comfortable reading these out loud. You can just look at these. Oh, at least if we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real, for real. At least they're conscious of it. I shared a Unicorn Riot article in a University ran Facebook group about the leader of college Republicans and TP there being a Nazi. Got taken down by admins. The banner, if you hyperlink this, is if this gets leaked, we're cooked for real, for real. Yeah. Also, we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement. I'm ready to watch people burn now. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkeys play. Jesus, good Lord, these people are awful. Like, the best you could say is like it's like sort of like nihilistic irony poisoning where they're not even fully cognizant of the meaning and consequences, which is, even as I'm saying it sounds like bullshit. They know what they're doing. But it's like, do you never have a moment? Like, it's the Mitchell and what, like, are we the baddies? Like, is there never a moment of, like, clarity? Where you're just, like, sometimes you just, when you're writing any of this, do you have a moment going, what am I doing? Who have I become? Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. One hell of a lead. They referred to black people as monkeys and, quote, the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide and lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. Be interesting to know who they think in the Republican Party supports slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the N-word with the soft A and the G-U-H ending variations of the racial slur more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to rape as epic, quote unquote. Peter Junta, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Junta was referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's 15,000-member political organization for Republicans between 18 and 40 years old. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers, he continued. 2 members of the chat responded. We have a solid 3 people who can have them want to jump. If they vote for us, why would they be gassed? When do we bring that side out? I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We gotta pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in. Take it. Jesus! Like, text and reactions by Peter Junta, Bobby Walker, Ann K. Katy, Joe Maligno, Rachel Hope. His name's almost Joe Malignant. Rachel Hope and Alex Dwyer. From Can We Fix the Showers? Gas Chambers Don't Fit Hitler Aesthetic, from Joe Maligno, who previously identified himself as the general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans. If only you knew how bad it was. I'm ready to watch people burn now, Annie K. Katy, New York's National Committee member, said. The exchange is part of a trove of Telegram chats obtained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months and messages among young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers an unfiltered look at how a new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another's job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Rep. Elise Stefanik and Senate Majority Leader Rob Ortt, have denounced the chat. And festering resentments among the young Republicans have now turned into political recriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. The 2,900 pages of chats shared among a dozen millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August chronicle their campaign to seize control of the National Young Republican Organization on a hardline pro-Donald Trump platform. Many of the chat members already work inside government or party politics, and one serves as a state senator. Together, the messages reveal a culture. I think I keep peeking. The messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo among these positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. The more the political atmosphere is open and liberating, like it has been with the emergence of Trump and a more right-wing GOP even before him, it opens up young people and older people to telling racist jokes, making racist commentaries, and private and public, said Joe Fegan, a Texas A&M sociology professor who studied racism for the last 60 years. He's also concerned the words would be applied to public policy. It's chilling, of course, because they will act on these views. The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out in often dark, vivid fashion inside the chats, where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into streams of slurs and violent fantasies. Peter Giunta participated in a CNN political grill discussion at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Group chat members spoke freely about the pressure to cow to Trump to avoid being called a rhino, the love of Nazis within the party's right wing, and the president's alleged work to suppress documents related to wealthy financier Jeffrey Epstein's child sex crimes. Jeffrey Epstein? Financier? God damn it. Every time that he's called a financier, I have to watch this clip because it's just... and it's like...
Figures in our society.
You can really tell this guy worked with Norm Macdonald because it's just the it's just
there are many figures in our society who contribute an enormous amount to our culture, and people who have unconventional personal lives, and yet they seem exempt from criticism. Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No, let me finish.
I see it.
Jeffrey Epstein.
I see it.
No one, criticizes him, and yet.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
That is a double standard.
Jim,
it's wrong.
Jim,
And
hold
it's
on.
okay.
Hold on.
Look,
Hold
comment.
on. Much has been said. Much has been said about Jeffrey Epstein. Terrible things.
No, Jeff. I'm talking about Jeff Epstein, the New York financier.
Yes, we're talking about the same Jeff Epstein.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. I never heard.
Oh, it was a big story in the news. Huge.
No.
Yes, for you to say no one ever
Jeff
said...
Epstein.
Jeff Epstein,
Jeff
the
Epstein.
New York
Yes,
financier.
the financier.
The island.
Yes, he had an island that I've never been to.
Could barely hold it on that one. With the
I'm
island.
pretty sure, with respect, if there was some news about Jeff Epstein, I would have heard.
No, I don't know what rock you've been under. It was a huge story, and I have to... Jeff Epstein I have to tell you, he's gone. He's dead.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's
No.
dead.
Sorry, nice try. If Jeff,
Nice try. It's just...
if Jeff Epstein were deceased, I'm pretty sure I would know about it. Now, I admit I've not probably since the pandemic. I have not talked to him.
That would make sense. That would make
But
sense. He's been dead for a number of years, Jim.
I'll tell you, there's one easy way. Let's call Ghislaine Maxwell.
No, we're not calling Ghislaine Maxwell.
Why not? Okay.
She's in prison. She's in prison for crimes she committed with Jeff Epstein.
Ghislaine's in prison.
Yes, stop calling
Ghislaine.
her Ghislaine. How do you know these people? Jim.
Conan.
Jim.
All right.
Jim, listen.
Okay.
Listen
I'm
to me.
just saying, I'm your friend. You know what? It doesn't matter what you do in your private or personal.
I don't do anything in my private life.
Okay.
I think maybe just the entire word financier in any context is kind of ruined for me because of that video. All right. Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files. Alex Dwyer, the chair. So they're self-aware Nazis, which is the most incredible part. Chair of the Kansas Young Republicans wrote in one instance, I think it was AI filtered for the worst of the worst chats, or good old-fashioned manual journalism. 2,900 pages is a lot of garbage to sort through. Well, it depends. Like, here's the thing. Depends on, one, like, are these, like, if it's pages of this, and it's, like, something like that, it's, like, that per page. And it's on a dot. Like, we don't know, was this in letterhead page, or is this in legal? It was probably, like, they were sent a PDF file of something like that went for 2,900 pages. Which, here's the thing. If I got this, I'd burn through that in a sitting. It'd take me all night, but I would lean probably towards, like a good old-fashioned manual, because it'd be so goddamn juicy. You wouldn't even think to get an AI to filter it. And if it's something like this, you probably wouldn't have been able to because it was probably a PDF with JPEG, so it might not have even have been searchable. Yeah, like you'd burn through this pretty quickly, maybe a day or two, especially if there's multiple people going through it. Put on like some lo-fi beats, get a and it's like me and another reporter would burn through this in you start it in the afternoon and maybe finish it late in the evening. But you wouldn't be able to pull yourself away if you got this. And I feel like, and this is maybe just me personally, like there's some stuff where I use AI, like I always double check it just in case. But it's good to point you in the right direction, like with the Google Sheets, when you put all the numbers in there. So like if I'm doing like with my the last story I did, where is it? God damn you. Where's my story? There it is. So for this story I did, when I had it in the Google, I had all the data from his, God damn it, no, it's taking a while. But like you can, once you have all the data in Google Sheets, there's a thing in tools and you can do analyze data. And you can query the AI and be like, so for one of them, I'm like, how much can you go through the column that has all of the money, the numbers in it, and then add up the totals that are from entries that have each by province. So it would be like, what's the total for all of the donations from Ontario, from Quebec, BC, all the way down the list. And then I went through and manually checked the couple I'd be using. Like I manually checked like a couple at random, and they were the same numbers. And I'm like, oh, and I'm still paranoid enough where I'm gonna double check just in case, like, because sometimes it's only as smart as one, the question you ask, and two, the accuracy of the data and how it is input. So sometimes you have to double check because it's like sometimes there's a couple I had to add because the numbers I got were different than what was in there because the way that the like province thing, like most of them were like for Ontario is ON. And I think with a couple of them that it had missed a couple of them because they had put in ONT with the dot. But then once I added those to it, or added those ones to the number the AI had, it was the same number. So you do have to do a decent level, but like for this one, I wouldn't have been able to this was, I mean, it would have taken me a lot longer to find all this. But for this one, I was like, one of the queries was, and I got tipped off by this because someone just did, like, they already knew what the FSA numbers for Rockcliffe and Rosedale and whatever were, so they looked at the data the chart I had already made, and found the data. But then I went back and was like, okay, judging by the first three letters of the postal code, give me the total amounts of campaign contributions and direct contributions, and make a separate chart for each one. Which also, and then it did it and made it so much easier to check my work. So there is some good stuff for AI. God, that was a really long sidetrack to your question about whether or not they used AI to check through these chat messages. So again, long story short, I would assume they was so juicy they just went through this in a single sitting. All right. Dwyer and Katy declined to comment. Maligno and Hendricks did not return a request for comment, but some involved in the chat did respond publicly. Junta claimed the release of the chat is part of a highly coordinated, year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax and the New York City Young Republican Club, an allusion to a once obscured internecine war that has now spilled into the open. These logs were sourced by way of extortion and provided to Politico by the very same people conspiring against me, he said. What's more disheartening is that, despite my unwavering support for Donald Trump since 2016, Rouge members, he meant rogue, Rouge members of his administration, including Gavin Wax, have participated in this conspiracy to ruin me publicly simply because I challenged them privately. Wax, a staffer in Trump's State Department, formerly led the New York Young Republican Club, a separate city-based group that is at odds with the state organization, the New York State Republicans. He declined to comment. I'm already losing track of these people. It's too many Young Republican clubs. Despite his allusions to infighting, Junta still apologized. I'm so sorry to those offended by the insensitive and inexcusable language found within the more than 28,000 messages of a private group chat that I created during my campaign to lead the Young Republicans, he said. While I take complete responsibility, I have had no way of verifying their accuracy, and I'm deeply concerned that the message logs in question may have been deceptively doctored. But you already said that the logs were sourced and provided, so you've already confirmed that those are the chat logs. And also, you could probably just take any of the these messages and just do it. You can search through your chat logs. See if anything comes up. At least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump administration. Michael Bartels, who, according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of the General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Of course, another small business tyrant. Bartels did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. A notarized affidavit signed by Bartels and obtained by Politico also sheds light on the intra-party rivalry that led the Restorer War Room? What is that? Oh, Restore Young Republican. Restore YR War Room. Telegram chat to be made public. Bartels references Wax as well. He wrote that he did not give Politico the chat and that Wax demanded in a phone call that he provided the full chat log. What gives me hope is that it seems like no one has the magic aura that Trump does that allows him to actually doublespeak and sell it without looking like a complete ass to everyone. They're simultaneously too smart and smug to play the I'm stupid game. You mean other Republicans are too smart and smug to play the I'm stupid game that Trump does? God, and now it just goes into... So that one's just a bunch of all of the slurs from one guy who... For a guy who's a staffer. For a state senator. Mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, the members of the chat slung around an array of slurs, which Politico is republishing to show how they spoke. Epithets like F, and we can assume what that one is. It's the gay slur, the R word, N word appeared more than 251 times combined. This isn't a defense, but I'm surprised it's not higher, given how much they had to work with. Yeah, no, we'll finish it. I was thinking about skipping it, but even just skimming through it, I'm like, wait, like even just the words that were popping out as I skimmed through it, I'm like, wait, what is this about? So in one instance, Walker, who at the time was a staffer for Ort, talked about how a mutual friend of some in the chat dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time. Junta, and that's in quotes. So he wrote for a period of time. That's psychotic. Like, I know the headline is the slurs and the rape and anti-Semitism and Nazi jokes and rhetoric and threats, but who types like this? Ignore this part of the sentence. For a period of time. In an informal group chat. Junta responded that a woman was not Indian. She just didn't bathe often, Samuel Douglas, a state senator from northern Vermont, and the head of the state's Young Republicans, replied to Junta. In a separate conversation, Junta shared that his flight to Charleston, South Carolina landed safely. Then he offered some advice for his fellow Young Republicans. If your pilot is a she and she looks 10 shades darker than someone from Sicily, just end it there. Scream the no-no word, Junta wrote. Douglas did not respond to requests for comment. In a statement, Ort called for members of the chat to resign. I was shocked and disgusted to learn about the racist, anti-Semitic, and misogynistic comments attributed to members of the New York State Young Republicans, Ort said. This behavior is indefensible and has no place in our party or anywhere in public life. Walker had been in line to manage Republican Peter Oberacher's Peter Oberacher's campaign for Congress in upstate New York, but a spokesperson for the campaign said Walker won't be brought on in light of the comments in the chat. Private rhetoric isn't happening in a vacuum. It comes amid a widespread coarsening of the broader political discourse, and as incendiary and racially offensive tropes from the right become increasingly common in public debate. Last month, Trump posted an artificial intelligence-generated video that showed House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero beside Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, whose fabricated remarks were about trading free health care for immigrant votes. A false, long-running GOP trope. The sombrero meme has been widely used to mock Democrats as the government shutdown wears on. I think they're on day 14 of this shutdown, too. See, obviously there are benefits and drawbacks of any political system. And I'm sure if you're a fan of a republic system, you have many criticisms of the parliamentary democracy system. But here's one thing. Government can't run out of money. It's just not a thing that happens in a parliamentary democracy. If you're in charge and your government runs out of money, guess what? You're not in charge anymore. We're finding somebody else. It's called having your budget voted down. So in his 2024 campaign, Trump spread false reports of Haitian migrants eating pets. No, I was gonna hit the soundboard, but this is not appropriate at this moment because we're actually talking about him doing our racism. At one of his rallies, welcomed comedian Tony Hinchcliffe, who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage and joked about black people carving watermelons on Halloween. And don't forget, what's his face? That one, like that southern hillbilly guy who got upset because Trump used like his joke about not caring about people getting deported. Which it's like you almost can't even feel bad for him because it's like, how was the State Department or like whatever department posted that tweet? How were they supposed to know that you were gonna be upset about that? You basically endorsed Trump. You made the joke. Liz Houston, a White House spokesperson, rejected the idea that Trump's rhetoric had anything to do with the chat members' language. Only an activist, left-wing reporter would desperately try to tie President Trump into a story about a random group chat he has no affiliation with, while failing to mention the dangerous smears coming from Democratic politicians who have fantasized about murdering their opponent and calling Republicans Nazis and fascists. Yeah, but they're doing Nazi-fascist rhetoric in the group chats. The young Republicans were in young Republican group chats posting Nazis. Theo Vaughn, that's the one. I always laugh when I remember his real name. Theo Vaughn's real name, Theodore Capitani von Kernatowski III. She said, no one has been subjected to more vicious rhetoric and violence than President Trump and his supporters. In the Restore YR War Room chat, Giunta tells his fellow Republicans that he spoke with the White House in an endorsement from Trump for his bid to become chairman of the National Federation. Trump and the Republican National Committee ultimately decided to stay neutral in the race. White House officials said that it has no official affiliation with Restore YR and that hundreds of groups asked the White House for its endorsement. Giunta was the most prominent voice in the chat, spreading racist messages, often encouraged or liked by other members. When Luke Massiman, the chair of the Arizona Young Republicans, asked if the New Yorkers in the chat were watching an NBA playoff game, Giunta responded, I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch monkey play ball. Giunta elsewhere refers to black people as the watermelon people. Jesus. Hendricks made a similar remark in July. Bro is at a chicken restaurant ordering his food. Would he like some watermelon and Kool-Aid with that? Fuck you, dude. That sounds delicious. Like, I know that's not the point, but that sounds fantastic. It sounds so good. It's just, I think it's just a minor sign of how much you've poisoned your own heart and mind. That you can hear the phrase fried chicken, watermelon, and Kool-Aid, be like, oh, you're bad for wanting that. Like, you're an idiot. You like, just context aside. I would question all of your opinions. Even if it wasn't even a racist context. It was like, if I wave a magic wand and racism has never occurred, and I offered you that meal, and you're like, nah, I don't want that. That looks bad. I'd question all of your choices and all of your opinions from there on in. I don't know, that's a hack bit, but it's like, have you ever had that? Because it's so good. So good. And again, I'm here on a waffle, some maple syrup on there, like some actual, like real, here's the thing. I think, like, if we, like, that's the one thing I think, like, Canada can add to that. It's just real maple syrup. Because I know they're having chicken waffles and syrup, but that's like, the corn syrup bullcrap. Send you down some real-ass, dark, like, it's almost like, it's like dark, it's like a dark whiskey. Or like a dark rum. That's how you know that's the good maple syrup. You put that on chicken and waffles, little cubed up bits of watermelon. I mean, what more do you want? And I said, because it was like, we had that, there was like one of the brunch things when I was working at Kraft at Lansdowne. Just thinking about it now. It's so good. So good. All right. Hendrick, again. Wild digression. All right. Hendricks was a communications assistant for Kansas Republican Attorney General Chris Kobach until Thursday. Until Thursday. When did this come out? Oh, never mind. So, probably as they were reaching out for comment, they stopped being a... Sorry. I'm trying to respond to the only DMs, the only group chats I'm in are like, sometimes almost too wholesome for me D&D group chats. If those things ever got leaked, I would just be embarrassed how, like, how much of a sweetie boy I can be. It would be very personal because we get, like, my DM is very good. Like, he gets to know us very well and then use it against us. Side note, why the F is this Telegram and not Discord, WhatsApp, or GroupMe? There was wasn't the last one oh no, that was on Signal. I think it's something to do with, like, no, I don't say ooh woo, but it is very much like a I love you guys sort of thing, where it's just like, know how I was talking about inside emotions? That's where all the inside emotions happen. I don't think here's the thing. I don't think that is will never be a worry in my D&D discords. I'm the toxic white guy in my D. I'll set that like metric for you, so you can. I'm the problematic white guy on thin ice in the group. No, 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 no! Don't do that! No, disavow. No, I'm saying that I'm a sweetie pie, and I never do anything bad, and I'm still the toxic white guy. I mean, like, I get in trouble because I said she, her, and I was supposed to say they. Like, that sort of stuff. Like a well-meaning grandpa. Where he's like, he wants to do right, but he doesn't, it's like, doesn't have the lexicon down properly. Or all of the social cues. There were, like, one time we were doing a game where it was like, I forget what it was, it's just one of the one shots, but there's like a new thing where like there's like cards you can pull out where it's like a basically functions as like when I was camp counselor, when we'd have the little kids and be like some of them would have like sort of like maybe just some sort of emotional issue, and they'd have like little cards where it's like yellow light where it's like slow down, this is making me too emotional, and red light which means stop, and it's basically those cards. And I'm the toxic guy for thinking it's stupid, and actually the things that make you uncomfortable and make you step out of your comfort zone are good, and you should be allowed to say no to them. Which, I mean, like, within reason. Within reason. Where, like, it's like, oh, this part is too scary. I don't like gore. Too damn bad! I don't mean the real, like... Because I get, like, there's, again, it's also probably because I have such a great group where I don't think I'd ever have to worry about that, but I've heard horror stories about, like, DMs or players who, like, step way over the line personally or, like, socially with, like, how they roleplay. So I can understand, I get, again, even though in the moment I may roll my eyes, I understand the sort of conceptual need for it. Alright, I've missed a lot of messages. Everything I've heard about Telegram is fraudsters. Yeah, I don't know. I thought Telegram was like more of a social media platform, like Truth Social. But I guess you could also, because like WhatsApp is sort of like a social media platform as well. Governor of Puerto Rico resigned due to racist leaks. Leaked racist chats, also on Telegram a few years back. When you say 6'7", but it comes off as racist because it was the wrong context. I don't even... What does this 6'7" mean? Someone explain that one to me. Oh, roommate's texting me. All right. God, I need to read faster. Fudge? Would that be on like Urban Dictionary? All right. So, a notarized affidavit signed by Bartels and obtained by Politico also sheds light on the intra-party rivalry that led to the Restore YR War Room Telegram chat to be made public. Bartels references Wax as well. He wrote that he did not give Politico the chat and that Wax demanded in a phone call that he provide the full chat log. When I attempted to resist that demand after providing some of the requested information, Wax threatened my professional standing. Wait, what? It's a very random request from my roommate. He's out of town. He's like, hey, can you turn on my PS5, please? What does that mean? Why does 60 fear 7? Because 7, 8 out 9. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, he's trying to play PS5 at the airport. So Wax threatened my professional standing and raised the possibility of potential legal action related to an alleged breach of a non-disclosure agreement. Bartels claimed in an affidavit, my position within the New York Young Republicans Club was directly threatened. Walker, who now leads the New York State Young Republicans, touched on a similar theme, saying that he believes portions of the chat may have been altered, taken out of context, or otherwise manipulated, and that the private exchanges were obtained and released in a way clearly intended to inflict harm. He also apologized. There is no excuse for the language and tone and messages attributed to me. The language is wrong and hurtful, and I sincerely apologize, Walker said. This has been a painful lesson about judgment and trust, and I am committed to moving forward with a greater care, respect, and accountability in everything I say and do. Yeah, no, because it's like they're saying it's like it could be altered, taken out of context, or otherwise manipulated, but then they're also saying it's like, well, and it's all this weasel language, for the language and tone in messages attributed to me. But what's like if you're not sure that you said these things, then why are you apologizing? You should. I would make damn sure I had said these things before I was take ownership of in any way, even tangentially. So mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, the members of the chat slung around an array of slurs. Wait, did I just read something twice? I think I did. Oh yeah, no, let me just stop scrolling up. So we've read this. Hendricks was a communications assistant for Kansas Republican Attorney General Chris Kobach until Thursday. He also said in the chat that despite political differences, he's drawn to Missouri's Young Republican organization because Missouri doesn't like F words. Can't be talking like that, white baby. You overgrown white baby. Somebody get his pacifier. Can't be talking like that. Politico reached out to Denedry Herbert, a spokesperson for the Attorney General who also serves as Kansas's GOP chair, and shared with her excerpts of the chat involving Hendricks. In response, Herbert said that, "We are aware of the issue raised in your article and that Hendricks is no longer employed in Kobach's office." Oh no, he said he doesn't need me to do it anymore. He thought he got it to work. The crazy thing is that the closest I've ever gotten to this kind of thing is edgy teenage humor. Like, Adolf was very good at accomplishing bad things and applying that great man theory as a joke. And in 2025, that feels so effing milquetoast for Edge. That's the entire. It's a sea change. Like, some of this stuff would get called too far in a early 2000s Call of Duty chat lobby. In another exchange, Dwyer, the Kansas chair, informs Junta that one of the Michigan's young Republicans promised him the group will vote for the most right-wing person to lead the national organization. Great, I love Hitler, Junta responded. Dwyer reacted with a smiley face. Dark woke. Right. Few minority groups spared. That's one hell of a subhead. Junta, who serves as the chief of staff to New York State Assemblymaker Mike Reilly, ultimately fell 6 points short of winning the chairship to lead the Young Republican National Federation. Thank God. Earlier this year, despite earning endorsements from Stefanik and longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone, Riley did not respond to requests for comment. Early this year, Stefanik accepted an award from the New York State Young Republicans. She lauded Junta for his tremendous leadership in August and had her campaign and the political PAC she leads donate to the state organization. Alex DeGrasse, a senior advisor for Stefanik, said the Congresswoman was, quote, absolutely appalled to learn about the alleged comments made by leaders of New York State Young Republicans and other state YRs in a large national group chat. Quote, according to the description provided by Politico, the comments were heinous, anti-Semitic, racist, and unacceptable, end quote, he continued, noting Stefanik has never employed anyone in the chat. If the description by Politico is accurate, Congresswoman Stefanik calls for any New York Young Republicans responsible for these horrific comments in this chat to step down immediately. So again, if the description by Politico is accurate, they just can't help but put that little bit of, you gotta try, at least try and seed some doubt in the validity of the thing you're about to take responsibility for and condemn. Stone also condemned the comments in a statement. I, of course, have never seen this alleged chat room thread, he said. If it is authentic, I would, of course, denounce any such comments in the strongest possible terms. But you're not doing so now, to be clear. This would surprise me, as it is inconsistent with Peter that I know, although I know him in his capacity as the head of New York Young Republicans, where I thought he did a good job. Few minority groups are spared in the Young Republicans group chat. Their rhetoric, normalized at most points as dark humor, mirrors some popular conservative political commentators, podcasters, and comedians amid a national erosion of what's considered acceptable discourse. They're defending themselves on social media, calling people F slurs, but using bundle of sticks instead, unironically. They're Groiper at shitbags, but maybe that's okay now. GQ did a piece on Fuentes and didn't call him a Nazi, actually humanized him a bit as some sort of sex symbol. Actually, it's fucking crazy what the manosphere. Yeah. Who was it? Was it hilariously Adam Friedland's ex-girlfriend? I think ex-fiance maybe. What's her name? The Red Scare podcast. Wait, it that's hilarious. Yeah, Dasha. Automod held that message for the word peace. Of all the stuff in there. That's what it holds. That's incredible. Oh, that's because I've banned One Piece spoilers. Genta's line on a darker-skinned pilot, for example, echoes one used by slain conservative activist Charlie Kirk last year when he said, "If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." Kirk was discussing how diversity hiring invites unwholesome thinking. Walker also used the moniker Eye Patch McCain, originally coined by conservative commentator Tucker Carlson in an apparent reference to GOP Rep. Dan Crenshaw. Crenshaw lost his eye while serving as a Navy SEAL in Afghanistan. Walker also made the remark, "I prefer my war heroes not captured," a repeat of a similar 2015 line from Trump. Art Gibson, a professor... I'm skipping the political analysis. Sorry, I'm skipping through some of this. Because it's all just they're sort of just really laying it on thicker and thicker, but it's all just more rape threats, anti-Semitism. All right, so I think this is okay. So we're getting to the finale. All right, if we ever had a leak of this chat. While reporting this article, Politico was examining a separate allegation that Junta and Young Republicans mismanaged the New York organization's finances and hadn't paid at least one venue for a swanky holiday party it hosted last year. Politico's report detailed how the organization was missing required financial disclosure forms and how the subsequent efforts to file the forms revealed the organization was in more than $28,000 of debt. Good gravy. As of Tuesday, updated records show the organization is more than $38,000 of debt. Incredible. Donations to New York State Young Republicans' political account must be reported to the State Board of Elections. Expenditures must be reported too. At the time, Junta told Politico the allegations were nothing more than a sad, pathetic attempt at a political hit job. But in their Restore YR War Room chat, he and Walker speak flippantly about mishandling the club's finances. NYSYR account be like $500 balding cream, $1,000 Ozempic. Walker said in one message. NYSR will be declaring bankruptcy after this. I just know it, he said in another. I drained $10K tonight to pay for my next vacation to Italy, Junta appeared to joke about the organization's bank account. I spent it on a massage, he says, of another check that was deposited in the account. Great, can't wait to get sued by our venue, Walker replies. Members of the chat occasionally appeared to be aware of its toxicity and even made remarks that consider the possibility someone outside their tight-knit group could view it. Walker seemed to consider that possibility the most. In one instance, he joked about bombing the New York Republican National Federation's convention in Nashville and then remarked, "Just kidding for our assigned FBI tracker." In another, he considered the totality of the thousands of messages he and his peers had written and what would happen if the public saw them come to light. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be kirked for real, he wrote. And that's the cherry on top, is even while being just the most wildly racist they could possibly imagine themselves being, they're also still couching from African-American vernacular. Because they don't even have an original bone in their body. All right, let's check back in on Newfoundland. No, I'm assuming maybe it's probably. Oh.
Ariana, we talked about the need to grow.
PC's back in
for the
majority
PCs to win.
territory.
Lake Millville and Lab West, that was the 2 targets. 2 for 2, Ariana. Pretty good way to start the night.
Yeah, and let's take a look now at Lake Melville. And this is the return of a former cabinet minister, Keith Russell. Had a bit of a shaky time as a cabinet minister with Dunderdale's government, but, you know, that's all in the past because look at that. You know, one of the things in Labrador, too, that...
After Kirk was killed by Fuentes, has been trying to take up his space by softening his obvious anti-Semitic and racist edges just a bit.
I am once again asking for financial support.
Discount Sethridge and gifted a tier 1 subscription to Seductive Seaweed.
Hell yeah, Seth. Thank you very much. Apparently you can get Duolingo drops. I don't know what it is. They keep getting a notification for it. But I appreciate you, Rogan. Very much so. And I'll take this chance. Anyone who wants to follow, subscribe, or even just subscribe on YouTube. I am also on YouTube. If you want to hit a subscribe over there. Or if you're watching on YouTube, give me a follow on Twitch. That'd be nice. Oh yeah, I need to make I should make a command to make the YouTube come up.
Was public safety. Massive concerns around public safety in that district. That was something that Keith Russell promised change, and you'll see it there tonight in Lake Melville.
Okay, Labrador have been reliably liberal for many, many years. So was the west coast of Newfoundland and Labrador. Not tonight. Look at this. From the top to the tail, you've got blue with a little speck of red in Corner Brook and the independent Eddie Joyce holding on to his particular seat. But up here, we talked about
Fuentes,
this earlier in the night in St. Barb, Lanza Meadows. It was on the northern
I can't even say like attempting to break into the mainstream because it feels like he's starting to like. Who was it you said that the profile of him?
And that sparked the wave that ended the Liberal government and elected the PC government of Danny Williams.
GQ, you said?
Just below that, the seat of former Premier Andrew Fury, former Premier Dwight Ball, blue, and blue right here in Scott Reed's old seat. They only held on to Corner Brook, Ariana. That is a bad showing for the Liberals, a great breakthrough for the Conservatives.
And especially when you look at Humber Gross Moran, because of course this is a district that held 2 former premiers, Dwight Ball, Andrew Fury. They were campaigning with Helen Reid.
You know what generation needed though? An Eminem. Eminem saved millennials from fascism. Great video essay about that I saw recently. It was really good. Basically, it gave suburban white kids an outlet, an opportunity to connect to black culture. So that, well, that's the thing. There's a video I was watching where it's like, sure, like he was like black culture in that he was doing rap, but the actual content of his raps was not. He wasn't rapping about like where a lot of like white rappers now are rapping as if they grew up in the quote unquote hood, where even like Eminem had the actual legitimacy to say he grew up in the hood, but he was talking about the trailer park, which was his hood, but he was talking about shit that was legitimate to him that white people could connect to. It was a sort of a an entryway to other like rappers, obviously. But like what Eminem was doing was like he was rapping about white shit. Just through a predominantly black medium, obviously. Oh no, absolutely, yeah. Like he was. That's also the other thing. It was like that's why he has so. That's one of the other reasons why I think Eminem has so much respect. Is he paid his dues forward and back, and continues to. It doesn't take his spot for granted. What is this? GQ fact check. There are Tumblr Nixtorians and sincere fanfics, but are young liberal irony-poisoned women fetishizing or even falling for the hard right streamer with the Groiper? Dasha does one podcast with him. Although in fairness, he I think that writers need to stop extrapolating a social trend off of a single YouTube video they watched one time. Challenge level impossible. All right. So from this, the author cites 26 fanfics on AO3 as evidence in this piece, which is only slightly higher than the number of fics about Gerald Ford, and about a quarter of the number of people have written about Chiang Kai-shek. I mean, but Chiang Kai-shek, he's goddamn babe. Of course, there's gonna be a ton of fanfics about Chiang Kai-shek. Sure, it's just a bunch of doomed yaoi. I know what that means. I've recently learned what that means. All right, we'll get back to the NLL.
Leader out to speak tonight.
I think he echoed a lot of what you're saying just now, is that there is an opportunity.
Can't be censored.
I think the people of Newfoundland were heard very clearly by all three parties. I think that now the priorities of where they think this government should go have been clearly identified, and I think it will take all hands working together in a collaborative way to make that happen. Because even if it is a majority, it's just a majority, or if it's just a minority, I think it will still be incumbent upon them. But rest assured that, I think Jim would have liked to have seen more seats. Obviously, those voices are really important when they sit in houses of government, because they hold governments to account. But rest assured that will happen with Jim and hopefully Sheila to make sure that those things that have been promised are acted upon.
So Dave Brazel, Fogo Island, Cape Friels is where the majority sits right now. I mean, there are two seats that we do not yet have called. Fogo Island, Cape Friels, which is the closest, 156 vote lead for the Progressive Conservatives there. And Stephen, not saying this to rub salt in anything, but it's Carboneer Trinity Beta Verde, where you ran 4 times and you leave and it all falls apart. It's a 352 vote.
It had nothing to do. It had nothing to do with Steve Crocker.
Right, but Dave Brazel, I mean, if this holds, and I think we're very close to knowing that it's probably going to hold. Tony Wakeham does not need to reach across the aisle. He does not need to court the independents. He does not need to make promises to the NDP if he gets the majority. But what you're saying, it feels like you think he should do that, because there are fundamental challenges facing this province, facing his government, and what to do about the Hydro-Quebec deal and the cash flow shortage this province faces going forward has to be right at the top of that list, and it might need a little bit of collaboration.
Oh, 100%. And if anybody knows Tony's background, I mean, Tony's in the Canadian Basketball Hall of Fame because he was somebody who could coordinate, could collaborate, could organize things.
Could he dunk? I need to know if he could dunk.
And he could dunk.
Because he dunked tonight.
I wouldn't ask him tonight, but he's dunked a big one tonight, big time. But I mean, Tony has always been open and very collaborative here. He's, don't forget, he's lived in the cities, he's lived in the rural and urban areas, he's been a business person, he's been a senior bureaucrat and a politician who took a shot at the leadership, then stood up and said, I'm going to lead by example, ran for a nomination, then won in the opposition, and then since then took the leadership role. He's very collaborative. He has a great team around him. I'm looking forward to putting things in the right direction. And again, what I liked about this election, there was no attacking each other. This was about what we stand for, and hopefully this will be in the best interest of people in this province. Okay, sorry, I just got to get back to Carolyn. And Carolyn, I'm hearing from senior members of the Wakeham campaign saying, this is insane. The way that they pulled this off. They're waiting for John Hogan to speak, then we'll hear from Tony Wakeham.
Yeah, they are surprised. Not truly that expected this evening, this result. And as you say, we see on the screen there in the bottom right-hand corner there that we're waiting for Liberal leader John Hogan to come in and speak with supporters. Now opposition leader. That's right. John Hogan. So we'll see what happens and what he has to say tonight. And you do have some more results.
Can I just interrupt for 1 second?
Yeah.
The call between John Hogan and Tony Wakeham is happening right now. They are speaking, the leader of the Liberal Party and the leader of the PC Party. They're having the conversation right now. Once that is concluded, I suspect we'll see John Hogan come down there. So sorry for interrupting, but a little bit of news I wanted to give you there.
Yeah, and I guess the question is cabinet ministers.
Yes,
right?
Carolyn. So, of course, one of the things Tony Wakeham is going to have to think about is, who's going to go in my cabinet? So let's take a look at who we're thinking, okay? If we were to help Tony Wakeham, I'm just kidding. We're not helping Tony Wakeham around here. Lynn Paddock, he's an accountant. Perhaps he's someone that they're going to consider for finance. I'm also thinking of names of Chris Tibbs. We're thinking of Lloyd Parrott. But Mr. Paddock here has, history, his background is in finance. What about a justice minister? Helen Conway Ottenheimer, a lawyer. Her practice included being staff counsel for the Provincial Human Rights Commission. Perhaps she's someone who Mr. Wakeham will have on the cabinet, around cabinet. And also Leela Evans, Indigenous Affairs Minister. I would assume that's a pretty fair assumption there. Leela Evans, of course, one of the reasons why she is so popular in her district is because she is such an advocate for the people of Torn Gap Mountains. And
we'll watch this Elizabeth May video. I actually thought it was a good video.
All right, we're good to go, Rich?
We are running and
we're rocking and rolling. Elizabeth's ready to go?
All right.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. This is like episode, I don't know, like 3 or something like that.
Well,
be censored.
I'm glad because I can't be censored.
This is true. We're gonna get you to cuss a little bit later on, but we'll save that. Listen, I'm glad that you're doing this because I think that some people that are probably watching this platform, they have a certain perception of like this platform leans one way or the other. We just had Pierre on last episode, so you're a very good counterweight.
It's very possible.
Good. Yeah,
But-
I think they're sort of they're
No,
telegraphing
agreed.
that they may be voting for it.
I've known him since he was a little baby.
I don't think they're ready for an election right now.
Really?
Well, yeah. Well, he got elected when he was 24.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in politics then. I was running a national office for Sierra Club in Ottawa. So I made a point of working with everybody and talking to everybody and bringing issues to everybody. But we always got along.
He strikes me as the same sort of person now as he was then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a kind of, well, he was always kind of like the class clown. Remember when it was John Baird named him Skippy?
Right.
And he loved it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
No, there was some homelessness program called Skippy was the acronym. And anyway, it's a longer story about how it was that Pierre got nicknamed by John Baird, that the Conservative caucus always called him Skippy.
Well, it's funny because we're going to talk a little bit later on about kind of like
Well, it's very funny.
Folks
Also, wait.
that are watching this might assume that
second.
everybody in Ottawa that are on the different teams
I need to get ready.
don't really get along.
Yeah.
But sometimes you see, the gloves dropped in the house, but outside it's pretty cordial.
Well, it should be. And I don't like the whole teams analogy either because it shouldn't be about sports. We're elected to represent the constituents in our riding. To do good work, we should be working with each other. We should be able to talk to each other, exchange views. I mean, that's always my favorite description of being Canadian is to disagree without being disagreeable. And I don't want to lose that.
Well, that's exactly why we wanted to start this platform, because we want to get back to a place where folks actually listen to one another, no matter whether it's team or party or what have you, that folks actually listen to one another and can disagree with them still.
That's right. So, I mean, that's one of the things, I guess, if there's ever going to be an award, which there isn't, for Parliament for miscongeniality, I've got it. It's a lot. I know everybody.
There you go.
And I try really hard to obviously be respectful and find things we have in common, because otherwise, how does anything ever get done?
So we thought that may be a good place to start, how you actually got yourself to Parliament. And we understand that you studied theology.
Yes.
Right? You studied theology. How do you get from theology to environmental activist to lawyer to leader of the Green Party?
Well, it starts in a different direction. Okay. So I was an activist almost I can't say from birth, but when I was a small child, like an infant, my mother, who had been at that
right-wing
point not
podcaster,
involved in issues or campaigning or politics, but she read in the newspaper somewhere that atmospheric nuclear weapons testing
I think
was
they'll
cause
get
a big increase in childhood leukemia.
I think they need
so
like one
I
or
was
two
born in the
votes.
States, so we're talking
so probably
about
get Davies,
sort of an atmosphere politically of the Cold War.
Maybe even one
get
block.
Red, and an assumption that if you were against nuclear weapons testing, which was really, as my mom was, a mom saying, I don't think it's right that something that we're doing should cause children.
Wait, what? Your webcam is behind the video. Oh, yes.
To get leukemia and die because the military can't test weapons underground. Wait a minute. So
maybe
my mom
Gord Johns votes for it, or they get one other bloc
housewife
member
mom
to vote for
to
it.
being an activist. So my earliest days, I was involved. Like I was the only kid that would warn the other kids in the playground not to eat the snow because it contained strontium-90. Other parents warned their kids not to eat the snow if it was yellow. Sorry, the way I've been like this a long time because I was raised by an activist mom. So about the time that I was, 12, 13, I decided the thing that I wanted to do with my life was environmental work. I don't know why, but I started early. By grade 10, I started an environmental club in my high school. And I've been doing environmental work one way or another but basically from forever. I didn't even think about being personally involved in politics until 2006. By that time, I had been studying theology for a while because my thought process was, I've been executive director of Sierra Club of Canada for 17 years. What do you do after that? At some point, you really should leave an organization. So
so literally the Liberals have, how many seats do they have? They have 169. They have 169 seats. They need one. They need Elizabeth May to vote with the budget. Like, if all they need is Elizabeth May, promise her a seat on a committee and you're golden.
And it grows with change. And I thought, one thing I could think of that I'd want to do would be to be an Anglican parish priest. That would really be something. Because I didn't want to go back to practicing law. I remember telling my mother, and I know I don't want to go into politics. My mom died in 2003, so for me, that's a real marker that I remember telling my mom.
I'm not if I'm being honest with myself, just as like a person, as a human being, because I've sat beside her at a couple of luncheons. Elizabeth May might be my favorite person in Parliament. She's just her whole vibe is just all the things that, like, even people that annoy people about her. I'm like, how is this annoying you? She's just such a sweet old lady, and I apologize for calling you old, Miss May. Because her and her husband, let's just say, are in the kind of love that you would usually ascribe to a couple of young 20-year-olds. But she's fun as hell. She's very funny. And like with this podcast, there's going to be, every time you interview her, there's going to be about 20 minutes of the call or interview that will have nothing to do with what you were originally intending to talk about. And you're like, how did that happen? How did I get... And you can be like, oh, that's just used to her. No, I've talked to other reporters, and she'll get you. She just gets you yap. She's a yapper, but her yapperness is infectious. It makes her yapping at you makes you want to yap back, sort of thing.
Well, what am I going to do? And we talked about whether it would be a good fit. So that's how.
Did you grow up in a religious household?
No, not at all. My mother dragged us out of church this minute that the minister wouldn't take her petition against nuclear weapons testing.
Right. So, but are you still religious?
Oh, very.
Very?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm a practicing Anglican, which means I take, I live my life as inspired by constantly through prayer and constantly thinking, I mean, I know it's too trite to say that I always think, what would Jesus do? Sometimes I think, what would the Dalai Lama do? What would, what would someone do? What would, oh my God, what would Jane Goodall do? God, I'm going to make, anyway.
That's sad.
What would So I don't think I could do the work I do without faith. But and I know a lot of people hear that, and because the organized Christian movement that's in politics is the Christian right, so just say I'm in the Christian left, and you'll sort of
the Christian left. But okay, well, let me pick up on something that you said there. That faith, you wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't have faith. Why is faith kind of central for you and everything?
Because everything we're facing that must be done is basically impossible. So if you're not a person who's prepared to root yourself in miracles are possible, and things can change dramatically. I mean, I think it was miraculous that Nelson Mandela ever got out of jail and became president of a free South Africa, but it happened.
Yeah.
So there's things that happen, and I think if I didn't have a way of avoiding the notion of, well, this is the real world, or this is what it looks like, I believe there's a better world, and I think it's in all of us, and we can make things happen. That
no, I was gonna say I think you're right, but then I was like, wait, did it go liberal? But I think it went no. Yeah, no, you're right. It did go conservative. Kelly DeRitter, Kitchener Center. But I think they could get, because they'll just, if there's one thing Elizabeth May really cares about, it's procedure and the good functioning of Parliament.
are outside the realm of what looks possible. If we restrict our imagination to what looks possible, our kids don't have much of a future.
I think we want to keep you just in your past just a little bit longer and talk about the States. I also grew up in the U.S. and I came here to go to university to Canada.
Surrounded by Americans.
Yeah. Oh, and I don't have U.S. citizenship.
Yeah, well, you have to relinquish it, right?
I did.
At the time, you had to give it up, right?
Yeah, and I managed to keep it not on me. No, thank you. 100% Canadian. I'm very glad.
You wouldn't want your citizenship back, though?
No, U.S. citizenship?
Yeah. What not?
Oh, the reasons. I'm Canadian, number one.
No, but to have dual.
No, why would I? And actually, as a Canadian, as a member of Parliament, you really can't without breaking U.S. law, because when you swear an oath to, as I did when I first got sworn in, to Her Majesty the Queen, her heirs and successors, you that's another way of totally renouncing my country, 'tis of thee. I mean, that's done. So I'm 100% Canadian, and as a member of Parliament, I think I should be.
Yeah.
Do you still have family back there?
Very, very little.
We're going to talk about Canada, but since we're already talking about the States, I was watching a press conference with you. I think it was like yesterday or something like that. You were saying that Trump, he's unpredictable, he's chaotic. Isn't that strategy working for him, though?
Well, if we are in, as some posit, an attention economy, it's got to be working, because no one can take their eyes off him. It's like rubbernecking when you're driving on the highway and there's a horrific crash. You just can't take your eyes off it. So it's working for him. Is it working for the U.S. economy? No. Is it working for social cohesion, for the betterment of people, for human rights? No. It's certainly not working for, it's not working for anybody except Trump, who's making more money out of it.
But has he kind of fundamentally changed the way politics, not only in that country, but just kind of around the world, is done, because it is that kind of economy
For
now?
better or for worse?
For better or for worse, yeah.
I hope that that he hasn't changed it for good. There's so much dangerous about what he's doing. His contempt for the United States Constitution is stunning. I mean, I did go to school in the U.S. enough to know that's not something you're supposed to be able to do as president. Wait a minute. I mean, and I often rant about this when I especially talk to school kids in my writing about why it is that Westminster parliamentary democracy and the Canadian system of government is so very different from that in the U.S. And it's a little thing called the American Revolution. And Canadians stayed basically loyal to King George III when it was clear he was completely off his head. And the loyalists from the U.S. came up in droves to Canada. The U.S. Constitution.
I've been debating getting Irish citizenship. Ooh. through grandma lineage, but it's a few €100, a hassle, and I want to jump into politics at some point. It's a pretty sweet passport. Yeah, I think I could apply. I can get a British passport through my mom because she's Scottish.
Because it was written by people who were really worried about abuse of power and the accumulation of power by one person. So the U.S. president is supposed to be held in check by checks and balances, like him he doesn't control the Congress. These are supposed to be separate entities. In Canada, on the other hand, if you're the leader of a party that wins a majority of the seats in Parliament, totally control both the executive and legislative. We don't have checks and balances in Canada. It's amazing how much that sort of, I think it's the U.S. TV, U.S. cultural immersion that people actually talk about electing a prime minister, which we don't do, or, the idea that we have checks and balances here, which we don't, which is one of the reasons we really need electoral reform, but that's another topic altogether. Still, I mean, I am...
Wasn't that supposed to come? What was supposed to get electoral reform?
I do
Wait a
remember,
second.
what was his name? I think, what was it? Began with a J, he promised it. I'm very worried about the threat that Trump poses to democracy in the United States. I'm not nearly as worried about Canada because we have our own different system of government. And I think we have more shared values. And unfortunately, we are moving in the same direction as the U.S. in terms of a larger gap between the wealthiest and the poorest, but we're nowhere near in as bad shape as they are in the United States. And we also have other allies and other friends, and I hope that we're going to be able to pull together, and because obviously Trump has smashed the things that even were created by neoliberals, would you think he'd be comfy with the things that Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan and Brian already created, but he's not smashing them all to bits. Anything like a predictable global trading system. He doesn't care. He's a mercantilist and he likes tariffs and he's off the rails in terms of the things that you would imagine a Republican would have defended.
I'll just pick up on something you said about democracy and take us back to Canada. Proportional representation, for example, a better, some people think it's a better representation of democracy and electing our officials. But
basically, everybody does.
Yeah, sorry, but it can't be done. No one's doing it. There's no political will, right?
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go for it.
No, it's just when you have a system, as I just described, where a prime minister with a leader of a party with a majority of the seats controls everything, whether or not they have even 50+1% public support. So you can have a prime minister with a majority government that's gotten 40% of the vote. So those are called
Here's
false
the other
majority
thing. People
governments.
wildly underestimate because they think that Elizabeth May is some like they don't say it in these words, but they think she's some like free love, pot smoking, wine drinking hippie that just all she cares about is saving the whales. This lady knows she knows parliamentary procedure and like the rules and like the whole how this game is played better than probably the majority of parliamentarians. She's a goddamn smart cookie. And I think one of the reasons why I like her, she's definitely got the like actually energy to her, but she knows that goddamn parliamentary procedure like she knows the goddamn gospel probably. Line and verse, motherfucker. I was fully like, do it. Give it, let her be speaker. That would be, here's the thing. People are like, someone needs to bring order to the house. The iron fist of Elizabeth May could bring order to that house. She would not tolerate or countenance even a whiff of shenanigans. Do it. Make her speaker. I think that would be, just do it. It would have been a sight to behold, that's for sure. Yep, there it is. Poll in Canada calling it 5 minutes ago. The Progressive Conservatives have won a majority government in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'll add that to the...
Incredible slate of candidates. Put your names forward. You knocked on doors, rain and shine. You fought for your districts and your communities, and you did it with heart and integrity and a deep love for your province. And I want to congratulate all our candidates who were elected and who will represent their districts as MHAs. To our volunteers, our organizers, and our supporters, thank you for your tireless efforts, for believing in us and the values that the Liberal Party stands for giving your time and your energy. And your dedication is the only way any of this will be possible. And to the young people in the room or watching at home, some of you may have voted for the very first time. And let me say this, that politics matters, and your voice will always matter. Don't ever be discouraged from engaging and leading and from imagining what this province can be. And to my family, Jill and Maggie and Jack, and Mom and Dad, and my 2 sisters. You've supported me and encouraged me and put up with late nights and long nights on the road.
Oh, there's the waterworks.
It's been an amazing and a crazy and fun journey, and I can't thank you enough. And finally, to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, serving as your premier has been the honor of my life. And from everyone from Labrador West to Port Saunders, Burin to Bonavista, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to meet so many of you and see the best of our province. We're strong, we're proud, and we're resilient. And when we set our minds to something, there's nothing this province can't achieve. So tonight, we pause and reflect, but tomorrow we work to build the stronger, prosperous Newfoundland and Labrador that we all deserve. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Newfoundland and Labrador, and good night.
Well, there you have it, a heartfelt, emotional, and gracious
things happening
speech, I would
in
say, from
Newfoundland.
John Hogan as he speaks with supporters. A disappointing night for the Liberals, to be sure. John Hogan spending 6 months as Premier of the province, having been elected by Liberals in the Liberal leadership, saying there that he is wishing success to the incoming PC majority government, urging government to stay the course.
Why would you
on
call
the
this
Churchill
election, my
Falls
dude?
deal, saying it is, he thinks, the best opportunity still for this province, and also saying that tomorrow they go back to work. So there
Only
you have
Trudeau
John
can get
Hogan,
away with
speaking
completely
there
useless
tonight on a
election
disappointing evening for the Liberals.
It was
I guess
a
you're right.
gracious
I made
speech.
all
There was
that
his wife,
all that
Jill, and
talk
his
I had
daughter.
about
His son is
Felt it.
very
Underhill
young, maybe
Swing
3
3
years old, probably in
isn't
bed
that
by
impactful.
now.
And
But it's interesting as you
I'm
look
the
at
one
this
eating
result
crow.
and you look at John Hogan there. Him and his wife are both professionals. He's not yet 50. They're a young family with young children. This is the type of people that Tony Wakeham is going to be fighting for as the Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador going forward. There are not enough young families. There are not enough young people in Newfoundland and Labrador. The demographic pyramid is upside down. And you know, part of the pitch from the Liberals on the Churchill Falls deal that they're trying to do with Quebec is that this is the opportunity to give that opportunity to other young families to stay here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And John Hogan saying, I urge you to stay the course on Churchill Falls. It is the best opportunity. There is no better deal, but there is a better future. Compelling rhetoric, not enough to hold on to the government, not enough to win the election. As we take a look at how they perform tonight at the different regions across the province, you're going to see, you know, the numbers very much tell the tale. Down 8.5 points on the Avalon Peninsula, down 2 in Central, down in East, up in Labrador, but only winning 1 seat of the 4 in the Big Land. Up in Metro, 47.4 percentage points in the St. John's area. That is where the bedrock of support is, but that is very much an inefficient vote, as it turns out, because they had some big margins in the city, but dropped in seats, and they're down 5.5 percentage points overall from the last election. So 43.5, Carolyn, very close to that number we talked about at the beginning of the night, you know, that gets you a majority government. But Tony Wakeham set the new benchmark even a little bit higher, but still below that number. And John Hogan saying work continues tomorrow. The transition work does. That would leave you with the impression he's not resigning as leader tonight. Whether he stays on for the long term, I do not know. But it was interesting when the Muskrat Falls inquiry was happening. John Hogan was still a lawyer in private practice. This is the other big hydro deal on Labrador that went sideways and has been a financial burden on the province. John Hogan was the lawyer appointed to represent the ratepayers of Newfoundland and Labrador in that inquiry. He could be the opposition leader across from Tony Wakeham as there's a discussion of what to do with the next hydro deals in Labrador.
And this relationship with Quebec as well. The Liberals have been fostering what has been a much better relationship with Quebec than this province has seen in a while, working towards this Churchill Falls MOU. So what will be the next steps now on that? And
the Quebec media, the French language media in Quebec tomorrow is going to be fascinating. The reaction from the Parti Québécois in Quebec will be fascinating. The reaction from the François Legault and his government will be fascinating, because normally they don't pay too much attention to provincial elections in Newfoundland and Labrador. But Ariana and Carolyn, I don't know how they don't pay attention to this one, because this was something they wanted to present to their voters next year to try to save a government that has been in power a long time, governed through COVID.
Back to Ms. May.
Really dangerous. And that's why I see the need for proportional representation to basically inoculate our democracy against, and there's no one like this on the current political horizon, but we can imagine a sort of a Canadian version of populism, fascist, dictator, and you really don't want them to have
Age of Empires
all power if they have less than 50% popular support.
I mean, to Carmen's point, there are other priorities, and it doesn't seem as though there is that political will.
Because the big parties love it, even if it's unfair to them this cycle. And they, gee whiz, I mean, Andrew Scheer and Erin O'Toole, when they were leading their parties, had more votes than the Liberals that formed government.
Yeah.
But still, does it occur to them, gee, this system is really unfair. We ought to reform it so that if we get more votes, we get seats that reflect the votes we got. And it actually, in terms of national unity, would be so important to make sure that all those voters for Liberal, NDP, or Greens in Alberta see themselves reflected.
Are there Greens in Alberta?
Yeah, there are. Yeah, there are.
Where are they?
But it buys. Where's there? Well, I mean, there's the Green Party. Actually, they fight really hard. They do really well. We nearly won the Calgary Centre by-election.
Why are you being
by
so
the way, in
rude?
2012. When Chris Turner ran, we were, you know, there are moments where people
they run candidates.
Oh, let me look at our platform.
Maybe not in every riding.
For instance, we were the party that paid down the deficit faster than anyone else, and we were the party that had more planks of our platform costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office than anybody else. So, and yes, of course, we're Greens, which means, and it's a global movement, so it's a good party name because it translates into every language easily. If I was starting the Green Party, I would think, another name might be better, but never mind. When you look at Alberta and think about the way people vote, and they get reflected in the House of Commons in a way that makes it very unlikely that if there's a Liberal government, you're going to have a lot of people around the cabinet table from Alberta.
Well, yeah.
That's not a good thing. And if we had the proportion of people who voted for any party in particular reflected in the parliament we get, then you get that representation across the country that doesn't, because nothing like first past the post to create a situation where the Bloc Québécois
it's
and in fact did.
There's a level of respect I can have for
in one province
sort of
only.
just
but first past the post
Sisyphean
totally
task of running